Welcome to Convicted Hearts. I'm Jen, where we always keep our hearts convicted. Welcome to Convicted Hearts. I'm Jen, your host. This is where we always keep our hearts convicted. Today, I'm going to speak with you about something that is a topic going on in our community, and it is the unfortunate passing of Savage Studios. A lot of you that might have been around since the beginning know that I had felt some kind of way about this individual, and I will get into that and the reason for that in a few moments. As a matter of fact, I never thought I would be speaking about this person, and I definitely had never hoped to be speaking about this person in the past tense. Before I do that, I'm just going to read a brief article because I did want to confirm, as much as possible, I wanted to confirm that this was the truth, that he passed. I am not one of those creators that typically jumps on the second I hear something so I can be first to report it. No offense to those that do, but that's just not my style. I like to kind of get a little bit of info and make sure that things are what they are presented to be. And there's some falsehoods that can sort of air themselves out in the meantime. And here we go. So there is a article here, and it's from a news organization called SNBC. I've never heard of them before, but I did do a little bit of research, and they have written about other articles, so it wasn't just something made up. And it's titled Tattoo Parlor Shooting, Police Investigating Yucca Valley, California. So, Yucca Valley Shooting, Active Today Investigation. This is from yesterday, by the way. Authorities respond to the scene of a shooting in Yucca Valley, California. Let me start over. Here's the article. Yucca Valley shooting today, active investigation. This was from yesterday. Authorities respond to the scene of a shooting in Yucca Valley, California. The shooting occurred in a tattoo parlor at the west end of town on south side of 62 in Yucca Valley on August 20th, 2022. According to report, there is a huge ongoing police activity in the area. Officials set a perimeter as they are looking into the accident. Check this part out. This is the part that I'm like, I don't know if this is a misprint or if this is actually a little dime this paper or article dropped and people have not maybe caught or looked over. It says officials set a perimeter as they are looking into the accident. It doesn't say incident. It says accident. So let's all remember that when the rest of this unfolds. Basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing. That is just the point I wanted to make because we really don't know truly what happened other than the facts that were presented that, unfortunately, Savage Studios, Stephen was allegedly gunned down in a tattoo parlor. There's also, a lot of confusion about why he was there. People are reporting he was there getting a tattoo. People are saying he was there working. And from what I've researched, the little bit that I have, he was there, in fact, working. He was starting to do tattoos. He had always, I think, done them from his home, but maybe he had just recently started working in this shop. So there was also a video in which I think he put it out on TikTok, and it basically gave his location. It gave his location to this tattoo parlor. And he was, I'm sure he was using that as a form to welcome clientele to come in and, trying to generate money. The unfortunate part about that is it falls into this huge mess that sadly he created by having so many run-ins with different people, alleged organizations. I won't say the names of these things because that's not what I do here. I don't speak on organizations. And, even if I have people that I'm cool with, I'm acquaintances with, or related to, any of those things, I'm going to speak to them about their story and how they may have overcome something and what they went through. I'm never going to focus on the alleged organization that they might have allegedly been a part of. That is not what I do. I want no part of that. I know nothing about it. Unfortunately, Mr. Savage Studios did have many words that people are saying now came back to haunt him. And he disrespected people, alleged organizations. He called out everyone and anyone for a fade. I remember specifically there were lives that he did where he was standing in his front yard and basically telling people, pull up. This is where I live. You want to get down. You want the fade? Like, come pull up. This is where I'm at. I cringed at the thought of that because I remember thinking, gosh, you have a small child and a wife in your home. And even for your own safety, I know that it's difficult for a lot of men and women too, but primarily I think men who have maybe been incarcerated to maybe just pull back and not feed into something when there are individuals out there that are trying to get a reaction out of you. And that is where there is a huge lesson to learn in this story in particular. There are people that are going to target you and try to get you to respond. There are people that are just not going to like you, period, for the fact that what everyone keeps saying, you are a dropout, or you belong to this organization or that organization. And how can you drop out of one organization and join another? I don't care about any of that, but some people do. It's unfortunate, but it's taken very seriously. And a lot of people think that, oh, it's just on YouTube. It's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. This is a public platform. People see and hear what we say and do, whether it's something we do to embarrass ourselves, not intentional, or if you're calling someone out for a fade or disrespecting someone or something, it can catch up with you, clearly. When I was looking for some validation that this was in fact true, I wanted to make sure this wasn't some sort of hoax, God forbid, and I don't mean that with any disrespect. I just wanted to make sure I was putting out as accurate of information as possible. I, Googled Savage's name, his legal name, his government name, and I could not believe the amount of so many different sites that literally were giving this man's home address. Like, that's the first thing that came up. Not this guy is a content creator or, any of the things that he probably would have hoped to have seen when he Googled himself. It was legit sites that were giving out his home address. So that's pretty terrifying. To say the least. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the guy personally. I know as much as most of you guys know just from here watching on YouTube. Here's where I will let you know what my personal feelings are and why they come into play. I think Savage Studios started his original channel, The Savage Family, like maybe 3 years ago when he originally got out of a 10-year term in prison. I might be a little off on my facts. You guys can go back and look yourselves. The channel are still up. I'm just trying to give you some background as to how my feelings and the way everything came to be. I don't know. I'm just going to start over and just say, here's where my personal feelings towards him came into play. He started his channel probably 3 years ago when he got out of a 10-year term. Probably a year after that, he started doing these videos called Celly Nightmares. And unfortunately, he was really giving some very detailed information. And a lot of that information was incorrect. In fact, he made a video about someone who I am very close to. And the way he reported on this video was as if this person had already been found guilty of the alleged incident. Here's the problem. That alleged incident that he was reporting on a social media platform was an open investigation. It was not finalized. The person that I was close to was not uh, charged for that. And that incident was still being investigated. So you can see how I took issue with that, being the fact that, first of all, I feel like it's very unconvict code of you to speak on an incident that is an ongoing investigation and then label that person as already being guilty for it when there was allegedly no witnesses around. It was not done out in an open area, allegedly. It's one thing if something's reported on, it's in a paper or something that this took place. All of these witnesses saw it. There's cops, COs that reportedly saw this weapon, and that was not the case here. So I felt some kind of way. Yes, I did. Because you could potentially be basically aiding in the investigation of a very serious crime that is a sort of crime that just never goes away until it's been resolved. So that's what I'll say on my personal feelings towards him. That was, like I said, a couple of years or more ago, and I did voice my opinion on that somewhat, and then I sort of laid off on it because I didn't want to bring any more light to it. Over time, as I watched, I had previously watched Savage, and I enjoyed some of his content. I thought, he was charismatic, he was funny, but then things started shifting, and I could see that, in my opinion, he was dealing with some very serious personal demons, and they started to, in my opinion, really take a toll on his life. And I don't know what they are, to be exact. I'm sure anyone that has served that amount of time is going to deal with issues. I know my own family members who have served prison terms come out dealing with severe issues. So I just backed off. I didn't watch or support his channel. Also, he had very much disrespected someone that I care deeply for that has a channel. I'm not going to throw everybody's name out there. Even just speaking on this topic, I got a phone call last night that told me he had passed away. I'm not even going to put that person's name out there unless they choose to speak about it. So I think we have to be very careful with the information that we present, because there are people watching from the inside, from the outside. There's correctional officers watching. There's DAs watching. If you are someone that speaks about organizations and the ins and outs of what goes on, I think you have to be prepared for what could possibly come your way. And I know there are some people who are very much prepared and accept the fact that that's a likelihood for them. As for me, like I said, I'm not in the mix of anything like that. Thank God. I may know some people who might be, or acquaintances. And as far as that goes, I just love them as the people I know them to be, whether that be someone I went to school with, cousin, someone that my cousin married, who knows? I'm just trying to give you an example of, I love a person as a person, a child of God. I am a Christian first and foremost, so that's sort of what I'm trying to get at. I'm not in the mix as far as reporting on organizations. But I want you all to take heed to what has happened here and realize it is a big risk to do so, especially if you say things that could potentially be a liability. And it seems as though Savage, as much as I think he was trying to maybe change his life here recently, he had recently given up a lot of game. And there could have potentially been people that had issue with that, I would assume. And he had very many interactions with calling people out, people calling him out, things like that. I had mentioned that already. And not everyone just forgets about what's been said or the disrespect. Not everyone is maybe like myself and is like, okay, well, that situation he falsely reported on, is cool for now. A lot of people hold grudges. And if you play with people's life, if you play with, which people will say you're playing with their life if you're reporting on an alleged crime, right? If you play with people's money, if you play with, this is another thing I want to say, if you play with people's woman, let's just say that. A lot of you know that if you followed Savage, that he seemed to definitely be like a ladies' man. He had several women other than his wife, like in and out of his life. Who knows? This situation could have been anyone. So don't just assume that it was maybe someone he had disrespected or an organization he had disrespected in the past. It could have been some chick's old man that felt some kind of way about him being with her, flirting with her. Who knows? So I just want to, make sure that everyone sort of takes a breath, steps back, doesn't jump into their investigator gadget shoes and start trying to, piece together a case. That's dangerous. And I think that we should all really kick back and take that seriously right now. And more importantly than anything, a man's life was lost. And I'll be the first to say, I did not have a personal friendship with this man. I have never had a conversation with him. Like I said, there was an incident where he created a video that falsely accused someone I care about of a crime that could have been a very, very serious issue. And it did create problems. So that is where my personal distaste for him sort of became evident, and him disrespecting another channel whom I feel very loyal to, because they've always been loyal to me. And, it just, I feel bad even speaking about this, to be honest with you, because a man's life is gone. There's a young child now left without a father. There's either wife or ex-wife. I don't know the status of, their relationship, and it's none of my business. But I do know, I do know this. When my children's father passed, even though we were not together, it hurt. Like, he was not, he was not killed in a way that was brutal like this, or I wouldn't say he died of natural causes, because cancer doesn't seem very natural at all, especially after you watch someone suffer. But it makes you realize how silly and how stupid all of the fighting and bickering and all of the things from the past are. And it makes you realize that you share a beautiful child together. So I'm sure, regardless of whatever Brittany's going through in life, where her life is at, I hope she's doing great. I'm sure her heart is hurting. She has a little boy now that is without a father. I know that Savage had a mother and I believe a brother, and I'm sure several other family members, but I specifically remember mention of them in past videos. And I cannot imagine the hurt and pain that they are going through. So I send my condolences, my prayers out to specifically these people, and I will be praying for them. Despite the feelings that I had in the past, that's all in the past. Who am I as a person to not forgive and move on if I want the Lord to forgive me of my sins? I'm not going to do that. I would hope that everyone approaches this with somewhat of that attitude. I'm not expecting all of you guys to be like, oh, now that he's passed away, he was a great person. I know a lot of people, and he might have been, I don't know. A lot of people do that. Like when someone passes away, they're like, oh, this person was so wonderful, blah, 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 blah. And in your mind, you're thinking, and I'm not speaking of Savage, you're thinking like that person was a piece of crap, but it's easy to do when someone passes, to just change the narrative. But do keep in mind that this man had a family, has a family, and has a family that's hurting, and has a small child that will grow up one day to most likely see these videos. YouTube is forever. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of times what people also fail to remember. It doesn't go away. A lot of people I've seen have even created videos that could be very dangerous and spoken with people who really shouldn't be putting a video or information out there and could be deadly. And just because you take the video down doesn't mean that it goes away. I have removed videos before, but not for the fact that I've spoken to someone who was, potentially going to put me or themselves in danger. It's just maybe something like I felt did not represent myself any longer, or I wanted to change the direction of where my channel's going. But nothing on a dangerous level, I'll say that. I just feel incredibly, I don't know, it's like I feel this incredible amount of empathy for this man's family. And I wish so much that he would have been more cautious and more careful. Not every argument is worth calling someone out for a fade or telling someone to pull up, because not everybody pulls up with two fists for a fist fight. Nobody wants to lose, right? And some people come with even worse intentions than that. I mean, we have witnessed recently on social media, Instagram Live and things, where there have been individuals who were literally gunned down while on live. This is a very serious thing. And I want all of my fellow creators, and I want all of you to keep in mind that we have to consider our safety. Not all of us are doing things that are reckless and dangerous, but still, there are some people out there that are not well or have ill intentions for you. It's just the world we're living in right now. I also think about this man Savage did what? I think 10 years in California penitentiary, like different prisons. And I can only imagine his mother feeling, and I think about this because I think about my own mom and the sorrow that she feels for my brother being incarcerated. I can imagine that his mom probably most likely felt so joyful that her son made it out alive after 10 years, basically went in as a teenager, came out alive, was able to start this YouTube thing like 3 years ago, and it blew up for him. I think it was maybe the video he did about, R.I.P. Gabriel Fernandez, the child who was being, you guys know, by the mother and stepfather. I think that was the video he did where he had interviewed a female who was previously incarcerated with the mother, and I use the term mother loosely. That blew him up, and he went viral on that. So it's got to be hard for his mom to think like her son made it out, started doing something, became very successful, lost that first channel, came back with another channel, and was being successful with that as well. And, I guess he has a TikTok account that has over 100,000. I haven't fully looked into that, but I have heard about it. I'm completely aware of it. So he was doing things that made him financially successful, I'm sure. To what degree, I don't know. Unfortunately, sometimes when we choose the route of being financially successful, that can have its downfall. And we really have to weigh our options and not be so laser focused on the bag, right? Because seeking out the bag can sometimes get you in a position where you lose your family and you even lose your life. I believe Savage Studios was probably the first time I had witnessed someone actually, and this is my opinion, use trolling and being trolled as a benefit to their channel and their social media platforms. I'm sure it's happened before. This is just a case where I feel like I witnessed it happening, right? He would say things to get people to come at him, and then they would, and then he'd come back at them. I mean, look at all the beefs he had with different rappers and different social media, personalities. And I feel like that is something that I see very commonly now with other creators. I mean, people do use a beef, or even sometimes, in my opinion, made up beef to bring traffic their way and views, attention, likes, dislikes, comments. And I guess if that's what you're looking for, you can use that to become, I wouldn't want to call it successful, but I guess in a way it is successful if that's what you're looking for, is to blow your channel up or get all of those people to follow you. I don't personally like, I don't like conflict. I don't prefer it, but I do recognize that it does work for people who are okay with it. And I just feel like for myself, I would rather take the slow and steady route, have a natural and organic way of my channel growing. But I feel like this tragedy, there was too many instances in here of things that we can learn from to not speak on it. And for myself, like I said, I had a personal issue with him. I never spoke to him about it. I honestly didn't think he would care to hear about it, based on what I had seen him present himself to be in his other videos and things. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I just sort of kept it pushing. Also, I didn't want to bring any more heat or attention to what was going on at that time. It's a very strange thing, a very strange feeling to have, seeing another creator lose their life tragically. It's, even if you weren't close to that person, didn't care for them, it doesn't feel good. I'm not left with a good feeling about this. It doesn't make me feel happy. It makes me feel very sad, and very sad for his family and for the loss of his life. I'm always going to say this, and, I'm not meaning to preach at anyone, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Like, I am a Christian. Most of you know that. I pray that he made his peace with God before whatever took place. And that would be my final wishes for him. And I just pray that his family is able to come together and hold each other together, hold each other up. And may this be a lesson for those of us out here who are still creating. It's not worth it to get out there and be disrespectful and be reckless with your tongue. The Bible mentions there's life and death in the tongue. The things you say can bring life in a positive way, a negative way, or it can bring death. So just keep that in mind. This is just my thoughts on sort of what happened and the small connection that I did have, and it was not a good one, but my heart is in a position where I feel sorrow for the family. I want you guys to also, express your opinions. You don't have to say, oh, he was a great guy, or what, but if you feel that way, say that. But we should never, I really take death seriously. I don't play with death. I don't think it's a joke. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's something to be clowned on. That's just me. I definitely encourage you guys to speak your feelings, though. What is your thoughts on the current events of what's taking place in social media? Do you feel like this has become a dangerous place to be for certain people who might be a little reckless at the mouth. I mean, I do. I think I voiced that in this video, but I'm curious, what you as the viewers think. And do you enjoy this sort of thing? Some people do enjoy watching people go back and forth beefing with each other, and it can be entertaining. I'm not going to lie. It can be entertaining. I've been caught up in it before. You can laugh, you can be like, oh my gosh, did you hear what happened? That's so crazy. It is very easy to get caught up in, but it's very easy for those laughs and those clowning sessions to turn into something else. So with all of that said, I just want to say, rest in peace, Savage Studios. I pray that he made his peace with God. I pray for his family, his young son. This is going to be hard. I've lost family in tragedies, very tragic situations similar to this. So my heart goes out to all of you guys. And I would just say, lean on the Lord. Lean on the Lord, lean on each other. So until next time, I send you guys out with a ton of love, blessings. If you see someone that you feel might be getting a little reckless at the tongue, if you have a way to reach out to them without embarrassing them, or, maybe calling them out in front of everyone, maybe just let them know, like, hey, maybe be careful. They might not listen to you. They might not care. They might even get mad at you. But it's at least worth the try, right? So until next time, love and blessings from myself to all of you. I hope to see you guys soon. And thank you for watching.